The movie starts in a majestic city called Atlantis. It wasn't just any city, it was incredibly modern, advanced, and packed with futuristic technology. But today, a terrible danger was looming over Atlantis. Massive, terrifying tidal waves were rushing toward the city, and everyone was panicking. In the middle of this chaos, we see the royal family, the king, the queen, and their sweet little daughter, Kida. The queen hugs Kida tightly and tells her to go hide in a safe place until the danger passes. Suddenly, a blinding beam of light shines down from the sky. It completely hypnotizes the queen and lifts her up into the air. As she disappears into the light, a massive protective shield forms all around the city. This shield saves Atlantis from being smashed by the waves, but the entire city gets submerged deep under the ocean, vanishing from the world for thousands of years. Flash forward many years into the future. We meet a young man named Milo, a language expert who practically lives inside a museum. Milo has a massive obsession with finding Atlantis. He has spent years researching just to find a way to get there. He tries to convince everyone that Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization, with an incredible power source that could literally solve all the world's energy problems. Milo explains that there is a special ancient book that contains the map to Atlantis, but to find it, he needs to travel to Iceland. We also learn that Milo's grandfather was a famous explorer who spent his entire life trying to find Atlantis, but sadly failed. Milo goes to the museum board directors to beg for funding for his expedition, but they just laugh in his face. They mock him, saying he's wasting their money on a fairy tale. Feeling completely heartbroken and defeated, Milo walks back to his apartment. Waiting there for him is a woman named Helga. She tells him not to lose hope and asks him to meet her boss, a wealthy man named Whitmore. When Milo meets Whitmore, he discovers that Whitmore was actually a very close friend of his grandfather, and he shared the same dream of finding Atlantis. To Milo's absolute shock, Whitmore hands him a gift. It's the exact ancient book Milo had been searching for. Whitmore tells Milo that his grandfather dedicated his life to this, and now Whitmore is ready to fully fund the mission. He even shows Milo a prototype of a high-tech submarine built specifically for this deep-sea journey. Whitmore has put together a top-notch crew, telling Milo that every single person on this team is an expert who will help him achieve his dream. Soon, the entire crew is on a massive ship, carrying the submarine down into the ocean. As they prepare to dive, Milo warns the captain that a legendary sea monster protects the entrance to Atlantis, and they must survive it to find the gateway. They lock themselves inside the submarine and submerge into the dark, deep waters. As they go deeper, they see the eerie wrecks of old ships scattered on the ocean floor. Ships of explorers who tried to find Atlantis before them but tragically failed. Suddenly, the shadows move, and the massive monster appears, tracking them. It's incredibly powerful and launches a brutal attack on their submarine. Amidst the chaos, Milo realizes something shocking. The monster isn't a living creature. It's a giant, ancient robot built by the Atlanteans to protect their home. The robot completely wrecks the main submarine. The captain quickly orders the survivors to abandon ship and escape into smaller mini-submarines to continue the journey. Sadly, many crew members lose their lives in the attack, but the remaining survivors push forward in the mini-subs. After traveling through the dark waters, they finally spot a massive underwater gateway. They stop for a moment to pay their respects and say a quiet goodbye to the brave friends they lost along the way. Milo uses the ancient book to guide them through the dark tunnels. As they walk deeper, they get a creepy feeling that someone or something is stalking them from the shadows. Exhausted after hours of traveling, they decide to set up camp in a strange, massive cavern. High up in the cavern ceiling, there is a giant, mysterious light glowing naturally. Milo stares at it in awe, telling the team that this light must be powered by the legendary Atlantean power source. He sits down to read the book, hoping to find more clues about this power supply, but to his frustration, he discovers that a crucial page is missing, the exact page that explains the power source. Eventually, the giant light dims, and everyone heads to their tents to sleep. In the dead of night, mysterious masked figures creep into the camp and start rummaging through their gear. Milo suddenly wakes up. He grabs his flashlight and looks outside, only to see tiny, glowing fireflies coming out of the light source. But these aren't normal fireflies. The moment they touch anything, it bursts into flames. Fire spreads rapidly through the camp. Everyone wakes up screaming, scrambling into their expedition trucks, and speeding away to escape the fire. Soon they come across an old, fragile stone bridge. As the heavy trucks cross, the bridge begins to crumble violently, but through pure luck and adrenaline, they manage to cross just in time. They find themselves inside a massive, dormant volcano. The only way out is through the top of the volcano, but they have to be extremely quiet. If they wake the volcano up, they will be buried alive in lava. Meanwhile, Milo, who got separated and injured during the bridge collapse, is lying on the ground. Suddenly, the mysterious masked people surround him. Among them is a beautiful young woman wearing a strange, glowing crystal necklace. She kneels next to Milo, holds her crystal over his wounds, and miraculously heals him instantly. Just then, Milo's team catches up, causing the mysterious people to run away into the shadows. Milo quickly chases after them, and the crew follows close behind. After running through a tunnel, they stop dead in their tracks. Right in front of their eyes is the breathtaking, majestic city of Atlantis. Before they can even celebrate, the mysterious people surround them again. This time, they take off their masks. They are the actual living people of Atlantis. Since Milo is a linguistics expert, he figures out their ancient language and starts communicating with them. The tension melts away, and they quickly become friendly. The girl who healed Milo steps forward. She is Princess Kita. She warmly welcomes them and leads them into the heart of Atlantis. Kita takes the crew to meet her father, the king. But the king is not happy to see outsiders. He coldly tells them they must leave immediately and warns them that they will never find what they came looking for, the power source. The captain steps in and politely begs the king to let them stay just for the night to rest, and the king reluctantly agrees. Kita is deeply upset by her father's cold behavior. Later that evening, Milo finds Kita, and as they talk, a sweet bond forms between them. Kita takes Milo to a secret cave where a broken, ancient flying vehicle shaped like a fish is kept. Milo notices the crystal around her neck and realizes it's a key. He helps her use the crystal to activate the vehicle, and it sparks to life, flying gracefully. Kita then takes Milo on a tour of Atlantis, showing him their beautiful culture. Milo shows her his ancient book, translating things the Atlanteans themselves had forgotten over the centuries. Kita sadly confesses to Milo that because they lost the connection to their power source, their civilization is slowly dying. She takes Milo deep underwater to a hidden chamber covered in massive murals. Milo studies the wall paintings and pieces the puzzle together. There is a giant mother crystal power supply hidden somewhere, and it is the heart that keeps the city alive. He tells Kita he wants to help her find it, but repeats that the page explaining its location is missing. When they swim back to the surface, they are suddenly cornered by the captain and Helga. The truth is finally revealed. The captain was the one who stole the missing page. He didn't care about history. He was a greedy mercenary who only wanted to steal the power source and sell it for millions. The captain holds a gun to Kita's head and forces Milo to help him find the crystal chamber. Milo reads the missing page, which says that only the king knows the secret entrance. The captain marches them into the king's chamber and violently demands the location, but the king refuses to speak. The captain brutally strikes the old king. As the king falls, the captain notices a strange, glowing pattern on the water floor that matches the drawing in the book. The captain forces Milo and Kita onto the symbol, and suddenly, a massive stone pillar drops them deep into a hidden chamber below. Down in the chamber, they look up to see a massive glowing crystal star floating in the air, surrounded by floating stone faces of past Atlantean kings. This was the heart of Atlantis. The captain barks orders at Milo to figure out how to get it down, but Milo genuinely doesn't know. Suddenly, the giant crystal flashes violently. A beam of pure energy shoots down and hypnotizes Kita, exactly like what happened to her mother centuries ago. Kita walks into the light and floats up, merging with the giant crystal. When she floats back down, her body is glowing with pure, overwhelming energy. Seizing the opportunity, the captain locks the crystal-infused Kita inside a heavy metal container. He announces that they are taking her to the surface to sell her. Milo is furious. He begs the captain to leave her, warning him that if they take the power source away, Atlantis and all its people will die. The captain ignores Milo and orders the crew to pack up. Milo stands his ground and refuses to go. He turns to the rest of the crew, the mechanic Audrey, the demolitions expert Vinny, the doctor Sweet, and Cookie. He reminds them of their own struggles in life and asks if they can really live with themselves, knowing they murdered an entire civilization for money. One by one, touched by Milo's words, the crew steps away from the captain and joins Milo. Only Helga stays by the captain's side. "Fine," the captain sneers, saying he and Helga will take the prize themselves. They load the container onto a giant hot air balloon, blow up the bridge behind them so no one can follow, and head up toward the volcano's exit. The moment Kida leaves the city, the lights of Atlantis begin to fade. The water starts drying up, and the people grow weak. Milo and the crew rush to the king, who is fatally wounded. With his final breaths, the king explains to Milo that when Atlantis is in extreme danger, the crystal chooses a member of the royal family to merge with it to protect the city. It chose Kida's mother, and now it has chosen Kida. The king admits that the ancient flood happened because he tried to use the crystal as a weapon. He warns Milo that if Kida stays merged for too long, she will be trapped forever and lose her humanity. The king hands Milo his own crystal necklace and charges him with a heavy responsibility. "Save my daughter! Save Atlantis!" With those words, the king passes away. Milo is heartbroken, but he refuses to give up. He remembers the flying ancient ships. Using the king's crystal, Milo activates a whole fleet of flying fish vehicles for himself and the Atlantean warriors. They fly up into the volcano shaft, chasing the captain's giant balloon. A chaotic aerial battle breaks out inside the volcano. Milo and his team launch a daring attack, but the captain is desperate. To make the heavy balloon climb faster, the captain ruthlessly throws Helga off the side. Betrayed and badly injured, Helga uses her last bit of strength to fire a flare gun at the balloon, setting it on fire. The captain is trapped on the burning balloon, losing his mind with rage at Milo for ruining his plans. He grabs a heavy axe and swings wildly at Milo. Milo ducks, and the axe smashes into Kida's metal container, shattering the glass window. Milo grabs a shard of the broken glass, which is glowing with Kida's volatile crystal energy, and scratches the captain's arm with it. Instantly, the crystal energy spreads through the captain's body, turning him into a frozen, glowing crystal statue. A turning propeller of the balloon hits the statue, shattering the evil captain into 1,000 pieces. Milo grabs Kida's heavy container as the balloon explodes, riding it safely to the ground. But the danger isn't over. The battle has fully awakened the volcano. Rivers of molten red lava are exploding from the walls, rushing down toward Atlantis. Milo and the crew frantically hook the container to their flying vehicles and race back down to the city with a wall of fiery lava hot on their heels. They slam down into the city center and open the container. Kida floats out into the air, glowing like a blinding sun. The floating stone faces of the ancestors rise up, creating a circle of power around her. Kida releases a massive wave of energy, awakening the giant stone guardians dormant around the city. The guardians step forward and create a massive, glowing energy shield over Atlantis. The roaring lava hits the shield, turning into harmless solid rock. The danger passes. The crystal light softens, and the waters of Atlantis flow beautifully once again. The city is saved and restored to its former glory. Milo watches anxiously as Kida gently floats back down to the ground. She opens her eyes completely back to her normal self, and Milo catches her in his arms. Everyone cheers and celebrates. Atlantis is finally alive and safe. A few days later, the crew prepares a small plane to return to the surface. As a token of her immense gratitude, Kida gifts each crew member chests filled with Atlantean gold. Milo smiles at his friends, revealing his decision to stay behind in Atlantis with Kida, the girl he loves, to help rebuild their world. Before they leave, the crew gathers around Milo and Kida for a group photograph. Back on the surface, Whitmore sits in his study looking at the photograph. He smiles with tears in his eyes, realizing that Atlantis was real all along and his best friend's life work wasn't a joke. The crew hands Whitmore a small package from Milo. Inside is a beautiful, glowing Atlantean crystal necklace and a note, giving Whitmore the proof he always wanted, while keeping the city's location a safe secret from the greedy world. Deep under the ocean, we see Milo and Kida standing hand in hand, looking over their beautiful, thriving city. They are happy, safe, and together as the story comes to a peaceful end.